Morning sunlight cut through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting Sterling Industries gold. Sophia Martinez's fingers flew across her keyboard, third coffee growing cold beside unsigned contracts. 3 years as head secretary had taught her that order was survival. The elevator chimed. Heavy footsteps echoed across marble. A man in a charcoal suit strode past reception like he owned the air itself. Dark hair perfectly styled, jawline sharp enough to cut glass. He moved toward the CEO's office without stopping, without announcing himself, without acknowledging her existence. Her chair scraped back. "Excuse me." Authority rang through her voice. "You cannot enter that office without authorization." He paused mid-stride but didn't turn. Broad shoulders remained rigid beneath tailored fabric. Heat rose in Sophia's cheeks. 3 years of entitled board members treating rules like suggestions had prepared her for this. "Sir, I'm speaking to you." She stepped around her desk, heels clicking. "This is a restricted area. You need security clearance and identification." He turned slowly, as if her words were background noise he'd suddenly noticed. When their eyes met, something jolted through her chest. Storm gray irises studied her with unsettling intensity. "I have an appointment." His voice was low, smooth like aged whiskey. "An appointment with whom?" Sophia crossed her arms. "I manage every appointment on this floor. There's nothing scheduled." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "Perhaps you should check again." The condescending tone ignited something fierce inside her. Years of being overlooked, underestimated, dismissed by men in expensive suits who treated her like furniture. "Listen carefully." Her voice rose. "I don't care if you think you're important. This office operates under strict protocols. You will turn around, walk back to the elevators, and follow proper procedures. Otherwise, I'm calling security." He studied her face with curious intensity, like she was a puzzle. "You're quite fierce when defending your territory," he observed quietly. "This isn't my territory." Sophia's hands clenched. "This is my workplace and I take my responsibilities seriously." "Something you clearly don't understand." They stared at each other across the space. Morning light cast dramatic shadows across his face, highlighting sharp cheekbones and the determined set of his mouth. Then he spoke one word that sent ice down her spine. "Noted." No anger. No irritation. Just that one word delivered with unnerving calm. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a key card. The CEO's key card. The one that shouldn't exist yet because the new owner hadn't arrived. Except he had. Sophia watched in growing horror as he swiped the card. The lock clicked open with a soft beep that echoed like thunder. He paused in the doorway, looking back with those storm-gray eyes. "I'm Alexander Cain. Your new CEO." His gaze held hers, intense and unreadable. "And you just told me exactly what I needed to know about the kind of person I want running this company." The door closed with a quiet click. Sophia stood frozen, the world tilting beneath her feet. She'd just screamed at her new boss, threatened to have him removed, called him arrogant and dismissive. Her career was over. Her phone buzzed. An email from Alexander Cain. Subject: Meeting request. Message: My office. Now. Sophia's hand hovered over the door handle. Through frosted glass, Alexander's silhouette sat motionless behind the massive desk. 3 years of perfect performance reviews about to be destroyed by one explosive confrontation. She knocked twice. Crisp, professional. Then entered without waiting. If she was going down, she'd go down with dignity. Alexander stood by the window, hands in pockets, watching the city sprawl below. Morning light turned his profile into sharp angles and shadows. "Close the door," he said quietly. She did. The click sounded final. I apologize, Mr. Cain. The words tasted like acid. My behavior was unprofessional and unacceptable. I'll clear out my desk immediately. Sit down. Sophia blinked. Excuse me? Sit. He turned from the window, those storm gray eyes pinning her in place. Please. She lowered herself into the leather chair, spine rigid, hands folded to hide their shaking. Alexander moved to his chair but didn't sit. Instead, he leaned against the desk edge, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Cedar and something darker. Dangerous. Tell me, Miss Martinez. In 3 years, how many people have tried to breach security protocols and access this office? The question caught her off guard. 17. And how many succeeded? None. Because of you. It wasn't a question. Sophia met his gaze, refusing to look away first. Because I do my job. Most people would have backed down. He tilted his head slightly. When they realized who I was. Most would have apologized immediately, groveled, made excuses. I don't grovel. Something flickered in his expression. Appreciation, maybe. Or calculation. No, you don't. He moved behind the desk, pulling out a folder. Sterling Industries is bleeding money. The previous CEO made decisions that put us 6 months from bankruptcy. I bought this company to save it, but I need people I can trust. People who care more about doing what's right than pleasing those in power. He slid the folder across to her. Sophia opened it, scanning financial reports that made her stomach drop. Red numbers everywhere. I'm restructuring the entire executive team, Alexander continued. And I need someone who will challenge me when I'm wrong. Someone who isn't afraid to stand their ground. Sophia looked up. What are you saying? I'm offering you a promotion. Chief Operating Officer. You'd oversee all day-to-day operations, report directly to me, and have the authority to implement the changes this company desperately needs. The room spun. Coup. It was impossible. She was 32 years old with a bachelor's degree and 3 years of secretary experience. Why me? Because you're the only person in this building who had the spine to tell me no. Alexander leaned forward, intensity burning in his eyes. Because you care about this place. Because when you thought I was a threat, you didn't hesitate to defend it. I don't have the qualifications. You have something better. Loyalty. Integrity. Fire. He paused. And I'm betting everything on my ability to recognize talent when I see it. Sophia's mind raced. This was insane. This was career suicide. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. There's a condition, Alexander said, voice dropping lower. This company needs stability. Confidence. The board, the shareholders, the employees, they're all terrified. They need to believe in leadership. I understand. No. His gaze locked on hers with an intensity that stole her breath. You don't. We need to give them a story they can believe in. A partnership that looks unshakable. Sophia's pulse quickened. What kind of partnership? Alexander stood, moving around the desk until he was directly in front of her. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. The kind that starts with a ring, he said quietly. And ends with the entire world believing we're untouchable. The words hit her like a physical blow. You want me to marry you? I want us to save this company together. He pulled a small black box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a diamond that caught the light like captured fire. I want the board to see a united front. I want our competitors to know they're facing something they can't break. And I want you to have the power to fix everything you've watched crumble for 3 years. Sophia couldn't breathe. This is insane. This is business. Alexander's voice remained steady, but something burned beneath the surface. Something that made her wonder if this was entirely about business at all. 1 year. We play the part. You get the position, the authority, the salary. After 12 months, we quietly divorce. You walk away with enough money to start your own company if you want. And if I say no? Then I'll find someone else. His jaw tightened. But I don't want someone else. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning neither acknowledged. Sophia looked at the ring. At the man offering her everything she'd never dared to want. At the choice that would either save her or destroy her. I need to think. You have until midnight. Alexander closed the box, slipping it back into his pocket. After that, the offer expires. He moved toward the door, then paused. When he looked back, something raw flickered across his face before the mask slid back into place. I meant what I said earlier. You showed me exactly who you are. And that's someone worth taking a risk on. The door closed behind him. Sophia sat in the empty office, heart hammering, mind spinning. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The ring belonged to my mother. She would have liked you. And beneath it, a single question that would change everything. Do we have a deal? 6 months later, the lie had become easier than the truth. Sophia twisted the engagement ring on her finger, watching city lights blur past the town car window. Alexander sat beside her, reviewing notes for the charity gala on his tablet. Close enough that his cologne wrapped around her. Far enough that the distance felt intentional. They'd perfected the performance. His hand on her lower back at board meetings. Her laugh at his dry humor during investor dinners. The way he'd look at her across crowded rooms like she was the only person who mattered. All of it carefully choreographed. None of it real. Except for the moments when it felt too real. You're quiet, Alexander said without looking up. Tired. Sophia smoothed her black gown. 3 acquisitions in 1 week will do that. You handled the Bradford merger perfectly. Now he did look at her, something warm flickering in those storm-gray eyes. The board was impressed. Good. That was the point. The car stopped outside the Metropolitan Hotel. Camera flashes erupted like lightning. Alexander's hand found hers, squeezing once before they stepped into the chaos. Smile. Wave. His arm around her waist, solid and possessive. Her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat through expensive fabric. Mr. Cain, is it true you're expanding into overseas markets? Miss Martinez, how does it feel working alongside your fiancé? They'd answered these questions 100 times. The responses came automatically now. Inside the ballroom, crystal chandeliers cast everything in golden light. Alexander guided her through the crowd with practiced ease, introducing her to CEOs and senators and old money families who looked at her like she didn't belong. She'd learned to smile through their judgment. There's someone I need to speak with, Alexander murmured near her ear, breath warm against her skin. Victoria Chen. She's considering investing in our technology division. Sophia followed his gaze to a stunning woman in red, mid-30s with sharp intelligence in her dark eyes. Something cold settled in her stomach. Victoria, Alexander said as they approached. Thank you for coming. Alexander. Victoria's smile was warm, familiar. Too familiar. I wouldn't miss it. And this must be the famous Sophia Martinez. They shook hands. Victoria's grip was firm, assessing. I've heard remarkable things about your work, Victoria continued. Alexander speaks very highly of your business acumen. That's generous, Sophia replied carefully. Not generous. Honest. Victoria turned to Alexander. You always did have an eye for talent. The words carried weight Sophia couldn't decipher. She watched them together, noting the ease of their body language, the shared history in their glances. "How long have you two known each other?" Sophia asked. Victoria laughed, the sound like wind chimes. "Oh, Alexander and I go way back. College, wasn't it? Before he built his empire." "Before I knew what I was doing," Alexander said, but there was fondness in his voice. They talked business for 20 minutes. Sophia contributed where appropriate but mostly observed. The way Victoria touched Alexander's arm when making a point. The way he leaned in when she spoke. The way they looked at each other like they shared secrets Sophia would never be part of. "Excuse me," Sophia said suddenly. "I need some air." She didn't wait for a response. The balcony was empty, cold wind biting through her thin gown. Sophia gripped the railing, trying to remember this was all fake. That what she felt wasn't jealousy because you couldn't be jealous of something that was never yours. Footsteps behind her. Not Alexander's. Lighter, quicker. "He didn't tell you about me, did he?" Sophia turned. Victoria stood in the doorway, expression unreadable. "Tell me what?" "That we were engaged." Victoria moved closer. 3 years ago. Before his mother died. Before he became the man you know now. The words landed like bullets. "What happened?" "I left." Victoria's voice softened. "He was drowning in grief, throwing himself into work, shutting everyone out. I couldn't reach him anymore. So I walked away." She paused. "Biggest mistake of my life." Sophia's chest tightened. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he's different with you." Victoria met her gaze directly. "I've watched him tonight. The way he looks at you. It's not the performance everyone else sees. It's real. You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Victoria tilted her head. "I know Alexander Cain better than anyone. I know when he's pretending. And I know when he's not." She stepped closer. "But here's what you need to understand. He called me 2 weeks ago. Asked me to invest in Sterling Industries. Asked me to meet him tonight." Sophia's blood turned to ice. So he didn't mention you once during that call. Didn't mention his engagement. Talked about the company like it was all that mattered." Victoria's expression turned pitying. "You think this is real? You think he actually cares? You're a strategic move, Sophia. Just like everything else in his life." "That's not true." "Isn't it?" Victoria pulled out her phone, showing Sophia a text thread. Messages from Alexander. Recent messages. "Need to see you. Important. Can't discuss over phone." Sophia's hands shook as she read. The dates. The times. All within the past month. "He's been meeting with me in secret," Victoria said quietly. "Planning something. I thought you knew. I thought you were part of it." Her voice dropped. "But you're not, are you? You're just another piece on his chessboard." The balcony door opened. Alexander stood silhouetted against golden light. "Sophia," he said, urgency in his voice. "We need to talk." Victoria smiled sadly. "Too late, I think." She walked past him, pausing briefly. "You should have told her the truth from the beginning." Then she was gone. Alexander moved toward Sophia, but she stepped back. "Is it true?" Her voice cracked. "Have you been meeting with her?" His jaw tightened. Silence stretched between them. "Answer me," Sophia demanded. "Have you been meeting with Victoria Chen behind my back?" "Yes." The admission shattered something inside her. "Why?" "It's complicated." "Then uncomplicate it." Tears burned her eyes but she refused to let them fall. You made me believe this mattered. That I mattered. That we were partners. We are. Partners don't keep secrets. Sophia pulled off the ring, the metal suddenly feeling like a chain. Partners don't lie. Sophia, wait. Wait for what? She thrust the ring toward him. For another 6 months of pretending? For you to finish whatever game you're playing? I'm done, Alexander. I'm done being your strategic move. She pushed past him, back into the ballroom. Away from the man who'd given her everything she wanted and taken something she didn't know she'd offered. Her heart. Behind her, Alexander stood alone on the balcony, the ring burning in his palm and the truth he couldn't speak lodged in his throat like broken glass. Sophia's apartment was dark when Alexander arrived at 2 in the morning. He'd used the key she'd given him months ago, back when their fake engagement required the appearance of intimacy. She sat on the couch, still wearing the black gown, makeup smudged from crying she'd never admit to. Get out. No. Alexander closed the door behind him. Not until you listen. I don't want to hear more lies. Then hear the truth. He moved into her living room, standing in the darkness with her. Victoria has information about the previous CEO. Evidence that he was embezzling millions from Sterling Industries. Evidence that could save the company or destroy it completely, depending on how it's used. Sophia's breath caught. What kind of evidence? Offshore accounts. Falsified records. Payments to board members who helped him hide it. Alexander's voice was rough with exhaustion. She discovered it during her due diligence for the investment. She's been holding it, waiting to see what I'd do with it. Why didn't you tell me? Because if the board knew I was investigating them, they'd have moved everything. Hidden the evidence. Forced a hostile takeover that would have gutted the company and destroyed thousands of jobs. He stepped closer. I needed time to build a case. I needed Victoria's connections to trace the money. And I needed you to keep running operations like nothing was wrong. So you lied to protect me. I lied to protect everyone. Alexander's jaw tightened. Including you. If they suspected you knew anything, you'd become a target. Sophia stood, anger and confusion warring inside her. You should have trusted me. I know. The admission came quietly. I should have. But trust doesn't come easily to me. Not after my mother died and everyone I thought I could count on disappeared. Not after Victoria left when I needed someone most. Not after I learned that in business, vulnerability is a weapon people use against you. His honesty cut through her rage. So what now? She asked. What happens with Victoria's evidence? She's giving me a choice. Alexander pulled an envelope from his jacket. Option 1, use the evidence to prosecute the previous CEO and the corrupt board members. Clean house completely. But the scandal will tank our stock price. Investors will flee. The company might not survive the fallout. And option 2? Quietly force resignations. Negotiate settlements. Let them walk away with their reputations intact in exchange for repaying what they stole. His expression darkened. No justice. No accountability. Just survival. That's not a choice. That's surrender. That's pragmatism. Alexander handed her the envelope. But I'm not making this decision alone. You're COO. You have as much stake in this company's future as I do. So tell me, Sophia. What should we do? She opened the envelope, scanning documents that confirmed everything he'd said. Names she recognized. Amounts that made her sick. Proof of corruption that went straight to the top. If we prosecute, people lose their jobs, she said slowly. Families suffer. But if we don't, these men get away with stealing from everyone who believed in this company. Yes. Sophia looked up at him. What do you want to do? I want to burn it all down. Raw emotion flickered across his face. I want them to pay for every lie, every theft, every person they hurt. But that's not what's best for Sterling Industries. So we sacrifice justice for survival. Unless you can see another way. She couldn't. And that truth tasted like ash. There is one more thing, Alexander said quietly. Victoria wants something in return for her silence. For the evidence. For not going public herself. Dread settled in Sophia's stomach. What does she want? Me. He met her gaze directly. She wants a second chance. She wants us to end our engagement and for me to consider rebuilding what we had. The words hung between them like a guillotine. That's why you've been meeting with her, Sophia whispered. She's been negotiating terms. Yes. And what did you tell her? Alexander was silent for a long moment. Then he pulled something from his pocket. The engagement ring. He held it between them, diamond catching the dim light. I told her I'd consider it. His voice dropped. After I asked the woman I actually love what she thought I should do. Sophia's world tilted. What did you say? You heard me. Alexander's mask finally cracked, revealing everything he'd been hiding. I didn't plan this. I didn't want this. I proposed a fake engagement because it was strategic. Safe. Controlled. He stepped closer. But somewhere between your fierce loyalty and your brilliant mind and the way you challenge me when everyone else bows, I fell. And I fell hard. Tears burned her eyes. Alexander. I know the timing is terrible. I know this complicates everything. But you asked for truth, and this is it. He held out the ring. I want this to be real. I want you to be real. But I won't trap you in a choice between me and the company. So I'm giving you the power to decide. Decide what? If I should accept Victoria's terms. His expression was raw, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. If I should end this and let you walk away with your career intact. With the evidence secured. With Sterling Industries saved. He paused. I'll do it, Sophia. I'll sacrifice what I want if it means protecting you and everyone who depends on this company. Sophia stared at him. At the man who'd given her everything. At the choice that would define both their futures. You'd really do that? Her voice cracked. You'd walk away? For you? Alexander's throat worked. Yes. The admission broke something open inside her. All the walls she'd built. All the defenses she'd maintained. Every reason she'd told herself this was just business. Gone. Then you're an idiot, she said, voice shaking. Because I'm not letting you go. She closed the distance between them, taking the ring from his hand and sliding it back onto her finger. Where it belonged. Where it had always belonged. This is real, she said fiercely. We're real. And we're going to save this company together. No more secrets. No more sacrifices. No more letting other people decide our future. Alexander's eyes widened. Sophia, Victoria's evidence. Belongs to us now. She met his gaze with absolute certainty. We're going to find another way. We're going to expose the corruption, protect the employees, and rebuild Sterling Industries into something clean. Something worth fighting for. Even if it takes everything we have. That's impossible. Good. She pulled him closer, hand over his racing heart. Impossible is what we do best. Then she kissed him. And for the first time since this began, nothing about it was performance. Nothing was strategy. Nothing was fake. It was just them. Raw and real and absolutely terrifying. When they finally broke apart, Alexander pressed his forehead to hers, breathing hard. We're going to lose everything, he whispered. Maybe. Sophia smiled through tears. Or maybe we're going to win everything that actually matters. His phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. Time's up. What's your answer? Alexander showed it to Sophia. She took the phone and typed a single line. We choose option 3. Watch us. She hit send. What's option 3? Alexander asked. I have no idea. Sophia laughed, the sound slightly hysterical. But we're about to figure it out together. Outside, dawn broke over the city. Inside, two people who'd started as strangers, become allies, and transformed into something neither could name, prepared for war. With everything to lose. And each other to fight for. The emergency board meeting convened at 9 a.m. sharp. Sophia stood beside Alexander at the head of the conference table, Victoria Chen seated directly across from them. The corrupt board members shifted uncomfortably in their chairs, sensing something had changed but not yet knowing what. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, Alexander began, voice calm and controlled. We have some important matters to discuss regarding Sterling Industries' financial records. Robert Harrison, the former CEO's primary accomplice, leaned back. This better be worth our time, Cain. Some of us have actual responsibilities. Oh, it's worth your time. Sophia stepped forward, placing a folder in front of each board member. Because these documents detail every illegal transaction you've made over the past 5 years. The room exploded. This is slander, Harrison snarled. We'll sue you for everything. Sue us with what money? Alexander's smile was cold. The money you embezzled? The money currently frozen in offshore accounts while the SEC investigates? That money? Silence crashed down like a hammer. You have no proof, another board member stammered. Actually, we have everything. Victoria spoke for the first time, sliding her own folder across the table. Bank statements. Email correspondence. Recorded phone calls. I've been gathering evidence for 6 months. And as of this morning, copies of everything have been delivered to federal prosecutors. The color drained from Harrison's face. But here's what we're offering, Sophia continued, voice steady despite her racing heart. Full resignations. Immediate repayment of all stolen funds. Public statements citing health concerns or family reasons for your departure. In exchange, we don't press charges. And if we refuse? Harrison challenged. Then we burn it all down. Alexander leaned forward. Your reputations. Your freedom. Your family's futures. We have enough evidence to put every single one of you in federal prison for the next 20 years. Your choice. The board members looked at each other, desperation clear in their expressions. We need time to consider, Harrison tried. You have 60 seconds, Sophia said coldly. After that, the deal expires and the prosecutors get everything. This is blackmail. No. Alexander's voice dropped dangerously. This is mercy. Which is more than you showed the thousands of employees whose pensions you stole. More than you showed the families who trusted this company. More than you deserve. The seconds ticked by in suffocating silence. Finally, Harrison spoke, the word dragged out like broken glass. Accepted. One by one, the others nodded. Defeated. Destroyed. But free. Good. Sophia gathered the folders. Your resignations are effective immediately. Security will escort you from the building. Speak to the press, violate the terms, or attempt any form of retaliation, and the prosecutors receive everything. Understood? They understood. 20 minutes later, the conference room was empty except for Sophia, Alexander, and Victoria. That went better than expected, Victoria said, standing. She looked at Alexander for a long moment. I meant what I said at the gala. You're different with her. I know. Good different. Victoria smiled, something genuinely warm in it. The kind of different that saves people instead of destroying them. She turned to Sophia. Take care of him. He's terrible at taking care of himself. I'm learning that, Sophia replied. Victoria moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm glad I was wrong. About you being just another strategic move. I think you might be the only real thing he's ever chosen. Then she was gone, leaving them alone in the space where everything had changed. We did it, Sophia breathed. We actually did it. We did. Alexander pulled her close, exhaustion and relief evident in every line of his body. Though I'm not sure how we're going to fill 6 board positions by next week. One crisis at a time. She laughed against his chest. Right now, I just want to celebrate not going to prison. Modest goals. His arms tightened around her. I like it. They stood there for a long moment, two people who'd found each other through chaos and fury and a fake engagement that had become the most real thing in their lives. Sophia, Alexander said quietly. About the engagement. She pulled back to look at him, something uncertain flickering across her face. I know we said 1 year, he continued. I know this started as business. But I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. Okay. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the ring she'd worn for 6 months. But instead of putting it back on her finger, he held it between them. Do you want this to be real? His voice was raw, vulnerable. Not the performance. Not the strategy. Just us. Actually building something together. Sophia looked at the ring. At the man holding it. At the future spreading out before them, uncertain and terrifying and full of possibility. I want truth, she said finally. No more games. No more performances. If we do this, we do it honestly. With all our scars and damage and complicated history. Deal. Alexander smiled, the first genuine smile she'd ever seen from him. Though I should warn you. I'm terrible at relationships. I work too much. I'm emotionally unavailable. And I have trust issues that would require years of therapy to unpack. Funny. Sophia took the ring from his hand, studying it in the morning light. I'm stubborn. I overthink everything. And I have a tendency to yell at my superiors when they're being idiots. Sounds perfect to me. She slid the ring onto her own finger this time. Her choice. Her decision. Her future. Ask me, she said. What? If you want this to be real, then ask me. Properly. Without the business proposal. Without the strategy. Just you and me and the truth. Alexander's expression softened. He took her hand, thumb brushing over the ring that had meant nothing 6 months ago and meant everything now. Sophia Martinez, he said quietly. Will you marry me? Not to save a company. Not to maintain appearances. But because I love you. Because you challenge me and frustrate me and make me want to be someone worthy of your fierce loyalty. Because I can't imagine facing another board meeting, another crisis, another morning without you beside me. Tears blurred her vision. Yes, she whispered. Yes to all of it. The marriage. The chaos. The messy, complicated, terrifyingly real relationship. Yes. He kissed her then. Soft and gentle and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, Sophia laughed, the sound bright and free. So what now? She asked. We've defeated the corrupt board. Saved the company. Figured out our relationship. What's next? Alexander pulled her toward the window, where morning sunlight painted the city gold. Sterling Industries spread out beneath them, damaged but still standing. Still fighting. Now? He smiled against her hair. Now we build something better. Together. And they did. In the months that followed, Sterling Industries transformed. New board members who actually cared about the company. Ethical practices that prioritized people over profit. A partnership between CEO and COO that became legendary in business circles for its fierce efficiency and absolute trust. The engagement party happened 6 months later. No performance. No pretense. Just two people who'd found each other through chaos and chosen to stay through everything that came after. The wedding was small. Intimate. Real. And when Alexander Cain kissed his wife for the first time as husband and wife, there was nothing fake about the tears in his eyes or the smile on her face or the future they'd built from the ashes of lies and the foundation of truth. Sometimes the best love stories start with a confrontation. Sometimes they're saved by a sacrifice. Sometimes they survive betrayal and become stronger for it. And sometimes, two emotionally scarred people find each other at exactly the wrong moment and create exactly the right ending. Not perfect. Not easy. But theirs. Completely, messily, beautifully theirs. The end.